Hello again, my DIY loving friends. I'm Sarah, and this is Medicated Housewife DIY, where crafting and mental health come together. In today's video, we're turning budget finds into high-end treasures. Join me on this journey to glam up your space with some incredible Dollar Tree decor hacks, using simple items like tumbling tower blocks to create stunning upscale looks. Trust me, your home is about to get a serious style upgrade without the hefty price tag. So what are we waiting for? Let's go DIY together. For this DIY, we'll be using a total of 68 of the brown tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree and the super glue wood glue, also a staple at Dollar Tree. To begin with, I'm making 11 sets of 2 blocks. They are all attached from end to end, as you can see me doing right here. To begin assembling this first side of the project, I'm standing my 11 sets of 2 blocks up on their ends the tall way, and we are gluing them together in this kind of zigzag or an accordion style pattern, just like you see me doing right here. And you can always pause the video or replay any of the parts if you need to follow along with me. Next, I made another group of 11 sets of 2 blocks that are all attached from end to end, exactly the same as the first group. And I then attached that group of 11 sets of 2 blocks together the same way as the first side that we've just made. I am standing them up on their ends the tall way and attaching them together in this zigzag accordion style pattern. So I now have 2 matching sides of 11 sets of 2 blocks. At the last minute, I also decided to make a back wall for the project to fit in between my 2 sides. So I created 12 more sets of 2 blocks, the exact same way I had made both of the 11 sets of blocks, and then attached those together the exact same way as the 2 side walls we just made. But the back wall is slightly wider than the sides because we used 12 sets of blocks instead of using 11. This brings our grand total of blocks used to 68, as I mentioned to you before. I've mentioned in previous videos how much I love the look of these less than attractive brown blocks, so much better when they are sanded down and distressed. So that's what I decided to do here. Using the sanding sponge, I thoroughly sanded the 3 walls of blocks that we've created on all sides and edges, distressing them down to a lovely rustic wood look. It's kind of a messy undertaking, and I'm covered in brown dust, but the results are worth the mess, in my opinion. I have this bamboo cutting board from Dollar Tree, and I mixed some hot water with equal parts of very strong and very cheap instant coffee to create a stain to use on my cutting board. I like using coffee to stain my wood, and bamboo in this case, because it gives the wood some warm wood color while still being sheer and allowing that grain to really show through. Plus, it dries fast and it smells really good. If you like coffee, I gave the board 2 to 3 coats of coffee on both sides and the edges and used a dry paper towel to rub the excess liquid away in between the coats of coffee. To assemble my final project, I stand my 3 walls up with that longer 12 set row in the back, and I'm going to attach each of my 2 sets of 11 to that 12 set of 2 blocks, the one that's the back wall, using some wood glue, and I allowed that to dry for several hours before I continued. Lastly, I added some wood glue to the top of my U-shaped base and then carefully centered my bamboo cutting board on top of that base, and I allowed that whole thing to fully dry overnight. And this is my tumbling tower block and bamboo cutting board riser. And I'm telling you that I did not have a Dollar Tree brown tumbling tower block DIY every week on my bingo card for 2025, but it looks like it's shaping up to be just that. You guys, we used them again, and I, for one, am very pleased with the result. I really hope you are too. For this DIY, we are using the natural color tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree and the super glue wood glue also from Dollar Tree. We'll be using a total of 80 blocks for this project. And to start with, we're making a set of 16 blocks that are attached together in 4 different columns of 4 blocks each, as you can see right here. I then attach those 4 columns of 4 blocks each, end to end. Then I add some wood glue directly on top of that set of 16 blocks and add another 16 blocks on top of that, giving us a set of 32 blocks in this little wall of blocks that we've now created. I take 8 more blocks and attach one set of 4 glued side by side and glue the other 4 directly on top of that, creating a set of 8. I repeat that one more time the exact same way, giving me 2 sets of 32 blocks and 2 sets of 8 blocks, or 80 blocks in total. To assemble the project, I stand up my 2 32-block walls and place the 2 8-block sides between them, as you see me doing here, and I'm going to glue them in place, creating this solid, thick, open rectangle shape, and I'm going to set that aside so it fully dries. While the block rectangle is drying, I grab 4 of these small wood cubes from a pack at Dollar Tree, and I mixed some Dollar Tree gray acrylic paint with plain water to create this gray wash to paint my 4 wood cubes, just giving them a little sheer wash of gray and plenty of that wood tone still showing through. Then I allow them all to dry. I wanted to give my block rectangle a base coat of white. So I'm using this folk art white chalk paint, which I'll link for you below, to cover the wood on the blocks and to make it a solid white color. I painted the inside of the rectangle as well as all of the sides and edges of the outside, and I gave it a couple of minutes to dry. Then, using that same white chalk paint, I mixed the paint in a cup with a whole bunch of baking soda to create this grainy, textured white paint. And I did a second coat of the textured paint all over the block rectangle on the inside and on the outside, really loading on that texture until the block rectangle kind of takes on the look of a very industrial or modern white concrete cinder block, or at least that's the look that I felt that it had. And when that texture paint had dried, I took it outside to spray it with this Montana granite texture spray, which I will link for you below. Lastly, once the granite texture dried, I turned the rectangle upside down and used some hot glue to attach the 4 wood cubes to the bottom as feet for the project, spacing them out with some loose blocks to help place them in the correct spaces. And this is my faux granite or concrete riser made out of tumbling tower blocks. And I love the modern kind of industrial feel of this decor piece. It really does have a stone or a concrete look, and you'd never guess it started out being made out of wood blocks. I'd love this to display some candles or planters, perfect on a coffee or console table in a living or dining room, upscale, but simple, clean, and elegant. For this DIY, I'm using 15 of these small 1-inch wide wood rounds I got on Amazon, and I'll link them for you below. I also have 5 of these wood rings like the kind you can get at Dollar Tree, but I will also link some other options below. I've mixed equal parts hot water and instant coffee to create a coffee stain. I am going to use the stain to stain all 5 of my wood rings, giving them this nice warm brown tone while still allowing the wood grain to show through. I use a dry paper towel to wipe away the excess liquid as I'm coffee staining them. I also had this 3-inch wood round that I'll link for you below, and I used the coffee stain to stain that on both sides as well. Next, I'm using some folk art antique wax, which I will link for you below, to paint the 15 1-inch wood rounds on both sides, wiping away the excess antique wax with a dry paper towel. I think I painted 16 of them, but only ended up using 15. So keep that in mind. For our purposes, we only need 15 of these small wood circles. To begin assembling, I'm using this Starbond super glue gel, but you can also use the super glue gel from Dollar Tree if you prefer. I'm attaching 3 wood rounds to the top of the wood ring, standing up, as you can see right here, in this kind of triangular formation. Then I move on to the second wood ring and I attach 3 more of those 1-inch wood rounds, and I am attaching them the exact same way. I repeat this again on a 3rd wood ring, allowing all 3 rings some time for that glue to fully set up. I add a small amount of glue to the top edge of the 3 wood rounds on my first ring, and then I'm going to very carefully place the second ring on top, making sure the wood circles on both rings are not directly on top of each other, if that makes sense. They are staggered. I repeat that on the top edge of the wood rounds on the second ring, and then I'm going to place the 3rd ring on top of the second. Off camera, I had added 3 wood rounds to the top of the 4th ring, and then I'm going to glue that 4th ring on top of the 3rd. Meanwhile, on that 3-inch wood round we had coffee stained earlier, I marked with a pencil on it where the wood ring rested within that wood round. So I would know approximately where to place the 3 tiny wood rounds standing up on top of that 3-inch wood round, attaching them the same way using that same super glue gel to do it. I added that 5th and final wood ring to the top of the 4th ring, on top of those 3 tiny wood round edges. Lastly, I add some super glue to the top edges of the tiny rounds attached to that 3-inch wood round, and I very gently place my little wood ring tower on top of the tiny rounds attached to that larger bottom wood round. And this is my admittedly slightly lopsided wood ring and wood round open vase. And yes, it's a little lopsided, but none of us are perfect, so I will appreciate it for the imperfect, unique decor accessory that it is. I do like it though for some tall branches or light greenery. It's very open and airy, and it definitely works for a spring vibe. Not my favorite, but I don't hate it either. I don't know if that's a great endorsement, but it is what it is. Thanks for joining me on this creative journey, my DIY loving friends. I hope you're feeling inspired to transform your space with these high-end Dollar Tree hacks. Remember, a little creativity goes a long way, and your home deserves to shine without breaking the bank. If you loved these ideas, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Medicated Housewife DIY for more crafty goodness. Let me know in the comments which DIY was your favorite, or let me know what DIY adventures you'd like to see me try next. You know I love hearing from all of you. Thanks for watching. Until next time, remember that together we're making the world a more beautiful place, one DIY at a time.